and welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And with Tammy today is our first guest. This is one of the sweetest dogs we have on the adoption floor. This is Kara, or Kara, depending on how you want to say it. She's one of our pit bull mixes. She's about 4 to 5 years old. She was previously owned. The family brought her to us because they said their family was growing and the expenses in their household had changed and they could no longer afford the dog. Kara is very sweet. All of the volunteers only have the nicest things to say about her. She is a dog that loves to cuddle. She's very affectionate. She'll give you kisses, but she is a high energy dog as well. She's got that pit bull in her, and so when she comes out of her kennel, she's very excited. She's, wants to bolt right out. She's, a little jumpy, overly excited, but once you get her out, you can see how calm she is. When she walks on a leash, she walks fairly nicely, but sometimes, as many dogs can, she gets a little excited and she can pull a little bit. So with all dogs, I really recommend a harness. A harness gives you more control. It makes sure that if they are pulling, they're not going to be hurting their neck in any way. So it's a really good tool to have. It also, just makes other people more comfortable when they're walking by you because they know that you have more control over your dog. They can't wriggle out of their collars and then they're running loose. So a harness is a great idea. Things that we know about Kara: she is both house trained and crate trained according to her previous owners. She's very playful. They did say that she can be nervous when she's left alone, and she can be afraid of some loud noises, but otherwise she's very friendly. She's used to typical things like getting her nails trimmed and getting baths and going to the vet. We behavior assessed her as we do all the dogs here. We found that she can get a little excited, but she, again, she just wants to cuddle with you. She really likes to be petted. She does gulp her food a little bit if you try to take it away. So if you have kids in the house, making sure that they understand that when Kara is eating, you want to leave her alone until she's finished. You don't want to stick your hands in the bowl, move the bowl, things like that. If you are interested in Kara, because she is a senior at 4 to 5 years old, she would go home for the senior discount. So instead of being the normal $92.50, she would be $72.50 if you were to take her home. Our next guest is Crystal, and she is one of 2 huskies on the floor right now. We have Jack, who was previously on the show, still on the adoption floor, as well as Crystal now. Crystal is a Siberian Husky, and with Jack, we are asking for someone who has experience with the breed, and that's required. With Crystal, it's just going to be preferred. We would prefer somebody that has breed experience adopt her, just because Huskies can be stubborn, they can be hard to train, things like that. They do have a very high energy level. We want to make sure whoever's adopting both of these guys are fully prepared to take on all of the traits that come with having them. They are beautiful dogs, but they can be a little quirky, and we want to make sure that both of these dogs are finding their forever homes and aren't going to end up back in the shelter. So when we talk about Husky experience or similar breed experience, what we're typically talking about is Siberian Husky, Alaskan Husky, Akita, Malamutes, and then also sometimes, depending on the dog, working dogs, so German Shepherds, things like that. Just to make sure that you're prepared to give them, all of the mental and physical stimulation that they need. You're aware of the kind of training that they require. But again, with Jack, that's going to be required. But with Crystal here, it's just preferred. Crystal is 3 years old, and she was previously owned. She was too much for her previous family to handle. Again, high energy dog. As you can see, she's been bouncing around kind of here. She's very into toys, very into things that squeak. She's very playful. But she is a smart dog. She does have some things under her belt as far as basic training. She knows a sit, which is a very good thing, so that you can place the dogs in sit positions when other animals are walking by, place them in a sit when you're trying to open the door, all very beneficial. So a sit and stay are great tools to have to keep everyone around you and your dog safe. She also knows Leave It, which is good for when things get dropped around the house, especially if you have children. We are asking that the family that adopt Crystal at least have children over the age of 6, because she is a bouncy little bundle of energy. We don't want any small kids to get hurt. And she also knows a high five, which is not necessarily helpful in any way, but it's super cute and it's a nice trick to show your friends that your dog can do. If you do think that you have what it takes to be a husky owner, you can stop in and visit with both Crystal and Jack here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. We are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. We went for some bigger dogs to now our smallest dog on the adoption floor. This is BJ. He is an 11-year-old Chihuahua mix. He has we talked recently on last week's show about animals making their way to the shelter when their owners have passed away, and unfortunately it seems that BJ has a similar story. Under the reason why he was being surrendered, the person who brought him in just wrote "Mom died." So it's another example of an animal that's not just in a new scary environment, but also someone that's grieving the loss of an owner that they loved and cared for. So it's understandable that he's a little shy. We have color-coded him yellow, which does indicate that he is a kind of a shyer guy. He gets a little nervous in new situations. But as you can see, he is perfectly happy being a lap dog, which is probably what he spent most of his time doing, just hanging out and cuddling, being someone's friendly companion. We have behavior assessed him. He keeps his kennel pretty clean. He's friendly, but he's cautious. He has no reaction to other dogs. He's shy and takes coaxing when you're getting him out of his kennel. He kind of lags behind when you're walking him. He was unable to be tested for food aggression because he wasn't interested. He wasn't really interested in toys either. Because he is an older dog, older dogs and older animals just in general tend to have more health needs, and BJ is no different. He does have some cloudy eyes, and our vet has said that he has probably diminished vision. He can see but has difficulty focusing on things. His depth perception might be a little bit off. He also might have more trouble adjusting from a dark source of light to a lighter source. So just being aware that he's not going to see as well as some of the other dogs on the floor, and making arrangements and being thoughtful in that respect. He also does need a dental, which is not uncommon for senior animals to need their teeth cleaned. And then we also have noticed that he does have a heart murmur, which is something that you just have to keep an eye on. You want to look for changes in his behavior after exercise and things like that. And we did notice when we were assessing him that while he's very sweet, he's a senior guy, and so he can be a little, I think our vet tech wrote persnickety on here about things that he doesn't like. So we just want to make sure everybody understands that sometimes BJ might need a little bit of space. But otherwise, he's very sweet, very loving. He's just a senior dog who's looking for, a second chance at a forever home. If you want to provide that for him, you can visit him here at Animal Control. We are open to the public 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Cortana has been on the show before, but we thought we would showcase her again because even though she's gotten many applications, we haven't been able to find the right fit for her as far as a family who would be a good adopter for her. She arrived in the shelter in mid-November and is still here, so she is now one of our longer residents. She's about 11 months old now, and she is a Border Collie mix. So Border Collies are working dogs. They're very smart. They have a high energy level, so Cortana needs a family that's going to be able to get her out, so she needs long walks, hikes, but she also needs mental stimulation. So Border Collies are good with things like frisbee, agility, any of those types of things, so that you're keeping her mind nice and active. When you're leaving them alone in the house, you need to make sure that they have toys and things to keep them mentally stimulated. Just like our kids, when our dogs get bored, that's when they can kind of get into trouble. They start chewing couch cushions and can be a little destructive in the house. Not because they're bad dogs, they're just bored and they're looking for something to keep them occupied and entertained. Cortana, because she is a puppy, will be adopted through our puppy process, which means that you do need to fill out a separate application that has more questions, so we can get more information about your experience with puppies, breeds, what your plan is, because even though she has some basics like sit and down, She does need more training. She can pull on a leash, she can be a little jumpy, so she does need some training to get her to that point where she's going to be the best version of herself. So we ask those types of questions. Also, we take 4 applications instead of the normal 2, so that we can find, the best possible fit for all of our puppies, because puppies are a lot of work. They need us to show them what is acceptable and what is not acceptable behavior, and they're never going to learn that unless we're willing to put in the work and do it ourselves. From our behavior assessment, we do know that Cortana loves attention. As you can see, she likes to be petted. She willingly lets go of objects. She's got no issue with food aggression. She has no reactions negatively with other dogs unless they initiate a negative reaction towards her. She's done well with parallel walking with some of our dogs here, but she does pull. She's a puppy, so she just needs someone to work with her as far as that's concerned. If you are interested in Cortana, the first step would be to come into the shelter and visit with her, see if she's going to be a good fit for your family. Our applications take 2 to 5 days to process. Then we do an interview as well to make sure everything's going to work out, and then you would be able to take your new pet home with you the day of your interview. The last dog on the show today is Quinn, and Quinn is just 6 months old, so if you're thinking about taking Quinn home, be prepared that she's gonna maybe get bigger. She's already weighing in at about 50 pounds, so if you have weight limits on what type of, what size dog you can have in your apartment, Quinn might not be a great fit because she might be getting bigger than the 50 pounds she's already at. Because she is a puppy, again, she would be adopted through that puppy process that we've talked about on the show already. Up to 4 applications, an extended application with more questions to answer. Also, our puppies are adopted for a fee of $150 instead of our normal $92.50. Puppies are a bigger responsibility. They require more of us. We want to make sure all of our puppy adopters are prepared to take on the challenges and joys of raising a puppy. We have behavior assessed Quinn, and we've gotten to know her a little bit better since she arrived. She does keep her kennel fairly clean, but she's very friendly. She's excited. She jumps and barks when you approach her kennels. She reacts favorably to the other dogs with tail wagging, calm demeanor. She does get a little bit excited, so she can be hard to get out of her kennel to leash up. She's jumps. She's very excited. She also can be a little difficult to walk because of pulling and jumping and things like that. So training her on the appropriate way to walk on a leash. That jumping on people is not necessarily an appropriate behavior. She does know a sit, but she could use a little bit of work on that as well. No issues with food aggression. She does enjoy being petted, but she can get kind of playfully aroused, so then she can be kind of jumping all over the place. But she's a puppy, so she's just going to require some training to become the best version of herself. The person who surrendered her to us, their home situation changed. She did previously live with another dog, so we know that even though she didn't live there for very long, only about a month, she did get along with the dog in the house. Also, they had a kitten, so she would be more amenable to living in a home with a cat as well. That's all we have for the dog portion of our show. If you stay tuned after the break, we're going to introduce you to several of the cats that are looking for adoption here at Frederick County Animal Control.
Hi, I'm Tracy, and this is Catherine. We are Frederick County 911 dispatchers, and we're here to tell you what to expect when dialing 911.
We're on the line to listen, and we also have important instructions to give you. Your 911 operator needs to get essential information from you as quickly as possible by asking the following questions in this order.
What is the address of the emergency so we can send the right help to the right location? What is the phone number you're calling from? If the line disconnects, we may need to call you back. What is your name so we can address you properly? And tell me exactly what happened. Asking these questions allows operators to start dispatch to emergencies quickly.
Your 911 operator is often working closely with one or more dispatchers, obtaining important information which is relayed to responders who are on the way to your location while you are still on the phone.
This process is repeated on each call to ensure responders get to each emergency as quickly and safely as possible with the right information to provide the best service they can.
Law enforcement, fire and rescue, and other responders rely on 911 operators and dispatchers to obtain specific information that varies with each type of call. Sometimes it may seem as though your 911 operator is asking a series of unnecessary questions, but in fact this information is vital for getting the right help sent to the right place. Often, help is already on the way while your 911 operator is talking to you.
While emergency crews are responding, dispatchers continue to provide them with updated information gathered by your 911 operator.
Also, your 911 operator may be able to provide you with important life-saving direction, from how to safely exit a building on fire to CPR instruction, providing important information for staying safe and out of danger during a vehicle accident, as well as helping a caller deliver a baby.
For more information, visit frederickcountymd.gov/911 or call the non-emergency number at 301-600-1603.
Getting your flu vaccine is the best way to prevent getting the flu and possible complications from the flu. People most susceptible to the flu include children 5 years old or younger, people 65 years or older, pregnant women, people with health issues such as asthma, diabetes, and heart disease, and people who take medication that might weaken the immune system. If you have the flu or want to avoid getting the flu, here are some pointers. Cover your cough and sneeze with your arm or use a tissue and wash your hands. Wash your hands with soap and water. If not available, use a hand sanitizer. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid being around sick people. Stay home from school or work if you are sick until you are free of a fever for 24 hours. Contact your healthcare provider if you are sick. To learn more about the flu, please call the Health Department Flu Information Line at 301-600-3035 or visit frederickcountymd.gov/flu.
Welcome back. We're starting off the cat portion of our show with a guy who might possibly be the most affectionate cat on the adoption floor right now. This is Rupert, and he is one of our blue color-coded cats, which generally means calm, cool, and collected. He's a pretty mellow guy, and not much is going to throw him off. And as you can see, he is the epitome of a lap cat. He wants to cuddle up and get cozy and give kisses. We took him out of his carrier and he went right onto Tammy's lap, and he's just been rolling around and cuddling up with her ever since. He came to us owned, but we didn't have a profile for him, so we're not exactly sure on all the details of what his situation was. But Rupert is a very confident cat. He comes right to the front of his cage. He'll ask for attention, but not necessarily begging for it. He's not very as vocal as some of the other cats on the adoption floor are. He's about 1 to 2 years old, so he's got a long, long life ahead of him. He was recently neutered. We make sure all of our animals before they go home, all the cats, dogs, rabbits, pigs are neutered and before they leave. So that's already been done. We make sure that they all have their rabies vaccines, distemper vaccines, county licenses. They get dewormer, they get flea and tick preventative. We do also microchip them, and we do provide a free well visit to the vet. So you're getting a lot for the cost of adoption, which is relatively low at just under $100. Just getting an animal spayed or neutered is going to cost you well beyond that $97 adoption fee. If you were to take Rupert home, he's going to do this. He's going to want to be cuddling and hanging out with you. a lot of people are looking for those lap cats, and sometimes people kind of look over and gloss over the black cats in the shelter. You know, sometimes they're hard to see. There's nothing, you know, crazy interesting about them. You know, Christopher Robin, who was one of our black cats, went really quickly because he did some little tricks. But what's going to set Rupert apart is just how affectionate and sweet he is. If you're interested in taking home this lap cat, you can visit Rupert here at the shelter. Again, we are located at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our next guest is Butternut, and he's another one of our new color-coded cats. He is a yellow cat, which means he's shy. Butternut is about 2 years old, and he recently graduated from our Frady Cat program. We have a program where we have specific volunteers that are that come in and socialize our cats that are very shy, very afraid of people and things like that. So Rupert was Butternut was part of that, and recently we decided that he was doing well enough with those volunteers that other volunteers could interact with him as well. So he's making a lot of progress, but it's important to understand that he is still a shy cat. So, you know, super young kids that are, you know, making lots of noises and running around and poking at him and stuff might not be a great fit for him, just because he is more shy, he's more scared. He did spend a lot of time hiding when he first got here. But we've moved him out so that he has things that make him feel comforted and safe, but he doesn't have as many places to hide. So he's doing really well. He has his blanket, which does make him feel very comfortable. It smells like him. It's a scent soaker, so it makes him feel very comfortable because it smells like him. He feels safe. It's a familiar thing for him, just like with kids who have blankets. We talked when Ichabod was on the show. Ichabod had his bed, and Butternut has his blanket. So providing shy cats, when you get home, with things that smell like them, putting them out in different areas of your house so they can feel comfortable, but also giving them safe places to hide. So we don't necessarily want them hiding under our beds or in our closets, under our couches. We want to give them you know, boxes that they can sit in with blankets, or the cat beds that are shaped like the little huts, so that they can go in there, still be out and be part of the family, but feel more secure. So there's lots of stuff that you can do to make your shy cat feel more comfortable, and also help them open up and become a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more confident. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more work. You have to be more patient with the shy cats, but it's always worth it in the end. Because as you can see, he's super affectionate. You know, he was brought to us through no fault of his own. His family was moving. He just needs someone that's gonna be patient with him and give him the time that he needs to feel safe in his new environment. If you have the patience that Butternut needs to feel loved again, you can stop in and visit him here at the shelter. If you want to call and see what his status is before you stop by, our number is 301-600-1546. Our next two guests are a bonded pair. Their names are Ricky and Zuki. So the Duluth Tortie over there on Tammy's lap is a girl, and her name is Ricky. And then over here with me, the orange tabby, or cream tabby if you will, is a boy, and his name is Zuki. They're both 5 years old. Because they are a bonded pair, they have to be adopted together. We will not separate them. They love each other, they're best friends, and they make each other feel safe and secure, and they like to hang out. These guys are very, very affectionate. They're very confident, they love attention, and they are not afraid to ask for it. If you walk by their cage, they will definitely let you know that they are there. They're chatty. They can also be a little lazy. They're typically found laying in their various spots that they like. Because they are a bonded pair and they are bigger, we do have them in our playpen instead of a typical cage, so that they have plenty of room to hang out and be together, but they're also not, you know, squished and things like that. Typically that cage is used for, you know, bigger litters of kittens. These guys, as you might be able to see, are a little bit overweight, so a diet and exercise plan would be fantastic for them if you were to adopt them and make them part of your family. You know, we want to make sure that our animals are at healthy weights so that they can live longer and stay with us and be more comfortable for as long as possible. Overweight animals can have the risks for various illnesses, diabetes being one, just arthritis and mobility issues, you know, things that affect other organs as well. So you really want to keep an eye on that. These guys, it's also been recommended that they get dentals for their teeth. It's important to pay attention to those things as well. It can manifest itself and be problematic if they're not taken care of. It's not an inexpensive thing, but it's always important to do what you need to do for the health of your animal. If you have issues with funding for various medical things, you can always reach out to places like the Humane Society and see if they might be able to help with those financial needs for various pets, depending on you know, their availability of funding and different things. It's always a good idea to look into those things to see if someone else from the outside can help you rather than relinquishing your animals. If you're interested in Ricky and Zuki, stop in and visit with them here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. The last cat that we have for you today is Lucas, and Lucas is very outgoing in his cage where he feels safe, but we've brought him out here to a new place with new people that he's not really familiar with, and he's feeling a little bit shy, so we wrapped him up in a little burrito, if you will, to make him feel a little bit more comfortable. But again, you know, when you walk by his cage, he's right there at the front, he rolls around, he you know, will reach out for you. He's definitely when he's in a secure environment where he feels comfortable, very, very outgoing. Lucas is about 1 to 2 years old. He came in, he was owned, but he didn't have a profile, and he actually didn't have a name either, so we gave him the name Lucas. He came in with another cat named Dennis, who is being adopted. So he was brought in because previous owners said that he wasn't using his litter box. They didn't know which one of the male cats was doing it. They then chart their usage here in the shelter, and we found that Lucas and Dennis were both using their litter box fine, no issues. It's just sometimes cats don't like the box that you're giving them. Sometimes they don't like the litter, and we found that when they were together, they were having issues. One box wasn't enough for them. So we separated them and gave them clay litter instead of our typical pellets. And they were doing really well using their litter box, no issues. So there are lots of ways that you can troubleshoot if you're having an issue in the house with litter box usage. That's always going to be your first step. Again, adding more boxes to the house, changing the size of the box. If it's a covered litter box, you want to take the top off. Some cats don't like those. Moving it to a different location. Changing the type of litter that you're using. And you always want to, if you're having really a lot of trouble, you always want to have them seen by the vet. Sometimes it's not just an environmental thing or a behavioral thing. Sometimes it's that they're sick. They can have urinary tract infections. They can get urine crystals. So there's a lot of things that can happen that you can't fix on your own. You need your vet to help you with that. So we just want to encourage everybody who might be having a similar issue to try and fix it, because as you can see with Lucas, based on his observation cards, we saw an issue, somebody reported an issue, we troubleshoot, and then we fixed it. So now he can be able to go on to another new home and live a happy life there. So you want to make sure you're putting that same effort into your pets at home so that you can keep them in your home. It's going to be less traumatic and upsetting for you, and less traumatic and upsetting for your animals as well. If you want to make sure that Lucas has an opportunity to have a new home of his own, again, stop in and visit here. If you're interested in any of the animals that you've seen on the show today, you can always stop by and visit, or you can call us and see what their status is. Our number here at the shelter is 301-600-1546. We want to thank you for watching, and we hope that you'll tune in next week where we introduce you to more of the animals that are residents here at Animal Control.